I don't know if you knew this, but I think the Pledge of Allegiance was a marketing ploy to sell flags. I don't know. I say that out loud. It doesn't sound true. Do you think that's true? Here's the weird history video.
Americans know the Pledge of Allegiance very well. Public school students in most states are required to recite it every single morning. But not many know the unusual history of the pledge, and whether or not it simply started as a ploy to sell flags. So, today we're going to take a look at the Pledge of Allegiance and whether it was created as a marketing promotion to sell flags. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel. After that, leave a comment and let us know what other bits of Americana you would like to hear about, okay?
Like, I'm looking at their content right now, and I know we were just talking about making content. Like, all these little things that you know you're going to pull up in a video or something like that, have a macro, have a button that you push to make the thing happen. I don't know.
Flags.
I'm
But
just
before we
thinking
get
out loud.
started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History channel. After that, leave a comment and let us know what other bits of Americana you would like to hear about, okay? Please
All right, here we
rise
go.
and place your right hand over your heart. We're about to pledge allegiance to some weird history.
Here we go. Oh, they don't show what the Americans do in the Bradley salute, which looked like the Nazi salute, and then they stopped doing it. They used to salute the flag with the same thing that was the Nazi salute. It looked the same.
There are a few
Everyone
things
hold on to your buttholes.
in America as widely known as the Pledge of Allegiance, which goes, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That
You
part's
can sit
not
back
there
down
at the
now.
beginning.
You might have spontaneously risen at those words because there is a protocol that goes along with the pledge, which everyone who grew up in the U.S. has memorized through sheer repetition,
They call that nationalistic indoctrination.
just like your favorite commercial jingle.
Gonna go for a Big Mac.
Baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, ribs.
You just know a classic when you hear it. Section 4 of the United States Flag Code states that the words of the pledge should be recited while standing at attention, facing the flag, with the right hand over the heart. Persons in uniform should remain silent, face the flag, and render the military salute. When not in uniform, people should remove any non-religious headdress with their right hand and hold it at the left shoulder, with the hand placed over the heart.
Oh yeah, the Bellamy salute. Bellamy.
And before you ask, no, a beer helmet is not a religious headdress. However, the words and protocol of the Pledge of Allegiance have gone through several transformations over the years that give insight into America over time. So refill your beer helmet and sit back and relax.
Beer helmet wouldn't count, but a colander would.
The Pledge of Allegiance starts with an oath
guys.
to the flag.
Happy
It goes,
420,
I
Jeff.
pledge allegiance to the flag,
Y'all
which
follow
is
Jeff?
kind of weird. In the late 1880s, there was a movement to place a flag at every school in the United States. In part, this was an effort to heal the nation's wounds after the whole Civil War thing. A flag in the classroom was a reminder that everyone belonged to the same country, regardless of what side of the Mason-Dixon line you lived on. It was also a way to reinforce the nation's shared values, as the United States had become a destination for immigrants from vastly different countries, cultures, and systems of government. Daniel Sharp Ford, the owner of Youth's Companion magazine, believed in promoting patriotism and his periodical. Youth's Companion started in 1827 as a children's magazine, but by the 1890s had evolved into a periodical for the whole family, with contributors such as Harriet Beecher Stowe, Mark Twain, Emily Dickinson, Booker T. Washington, and Jack London. In 1888, with John Upham in charge of the premium department, the magazine started offering its school flag promotion, selling flags to children in schools. It was a big success. In 1891 alone, they sold
The
25,000 flags to schools. The magazine also gave away a free flag with each new subscription. Giving away freebies with a purchase? That's savvy marketing. Just like Happy Meal toys, but less of a choking hazard.
It's just about
As
the
flags
flag.
spread across the land, the magazine hired Francis Bellamy to
There
come
he
up
is.
with a short, sweet pledge centered on the flag. Bellamy's pledge appeared in the September 1892 issue of Youth's Companion, a month before the first official Columbus Day on October 12th. Columbus Day had been created by President Benjamin Harris to mark the 400th anniversary of the arrival to the Americas by the Italian explorer Christopher Columbus. The celebration was a patriotic holiday in the U.S., even though Columbus technically landed in the Bahamas. It is on that day that Bellamy's pledge was first recited in public, largely by new immigrants, as part of the New York City Columbus Day holiday. It was also recited by school children across America as part of the National Public School celebration of Columbus Day. I'm sure the kids thought the pledge was cool, but not as cool as a day off. Thanks, President Harrison. Demand for American flags across the nation skyrocketed.
Flags.
Francis Bellamy was a Baptist preacher and an outspoken socialist. His early preaching regularly described Jesus as a socialist. He was a founding member of the Society of Christian Socialists. He wrote articles critical of greed and lust for money. He advocated for the working class, and he was a leader in the public education movement. He was also a charter member of the First Nationalist Club of Boston in 1889. The club advocated for the ideas contained in the wildly successful novel Looking Backwards, which happened to be written by his cousin, Edward Bellamy. The novel was written from the perspective of a man who fell asleep and woke up in the futuristic year 2000, and was set in an America that is a true
In the year 2000.
socialist utopia, like Futurama. The book's utopia, the achievement of which was the goal of the nationalist clubs, includes the elimination of private property, the nationalization of industry, the elimination of social classes, voluntary employment at the age of 21, short working hours, long vacations, retirement at the age of 45, no taxes, and the elimination of politicians, prostitutes, lawyers, and soldiers. It painted a world in which corruption, violence, greed, deception, and laziness had been eliminated from human nature. Did we mention that it was a work of fiction? In those years after his Pledge of Allegiance was written,
Pretty good.
Francis Bellamy developed some ideas on what would prevent the achievement of this utopia. Bellamy was editor of the Illustrated American, and in volume 22 of that journal, published in August of 1897, he wrote, "We set out to be a model democracy, but at the same time, we enthusiastically proclaimed the states were to be a refuge for the oppressed of all nations." He continues to say, "There are races, more or less akin to our own, whom we may admit freely and get nothing but advantage from their wholesome blood. But there are other races which we cannot assimilate without lowering our racial standard, which should be as sacred to us as the sanctity of our homes." Oh boy, that last one's a doozy. Did not see that coming. Seems pretty far from that one nation indivisible stuff he wrote about years earlier. Bellamy, to say the least, was a complicated guy. Maybe he should have had a podcast. Francis Bellamy cranked out the words to the Pledge of Allegiance in under 2 hours. That's less time than it takes to watch a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Although it was a brief time, a lot of thought went into the crafting of a pledge that would express intelligent patriotism. Bellamy had considered using the words equality and fraternity, most likely inspired by notions from the Enlightenment. Ultimately, he deemed them too abstract, their attainment too far in the future, and confusing, since the term equality had been redefined by some to mean equal results instead of equal rights and equal protections. He was later praised for his short yet poetic writing. Guy would have made a killing writing plot summaries for Netflix. However, Bellamy was not a pledge-writing pioneer. In fact, Captain George Bulk, a Union Army Civil War veteran, crafted a pledge that was in wide use for 3 years prior to Bellamy's version. Bulk's version went, "We give our hearts to God and our country, one language, one flag." It's got a little beat, you can dance to that. It wasn't until the first National Flag Conference in 1923 that a single pledge was generally agreed upon. Most Americans know that the Pledge of Allegiance is spoken while the right hand rests over the heart, per Section 4 of the United States Flag Code. However, Francis Bellamy had suggested a different protocol. In his vision, children would stand in ordered ranks with their hands to their sides while facing the flag. Following that, every pupil gives the flag the military salute, right hand lifted, palm downward to align with the forehead and close to it. Holding that position, they would all slowly recite the pledge together, while waiting to see who forgot the words. We may have added that last part. When speaking the words, "to my flag," Bellamy wanted the kids to extend their right hand gracefully, palm upward towards the flag, like they were offering it some peanut M&Ms, and then stay in that position till the end of the affirmation, whereupon all hands immediately dropped to the side. Bellamy's vision may sound strange, but there was nothing wrong with it until a certain group of people ruined extended arm salutes for everyone. Looking at you, tiny mustache guy. Nobody wants to be near an infamous Nazi gesture. So in the 20th century, the protocol for the pledge was changed. The original words in Bellamy's pledge were also a little different than the ones we know today. His went, "I pledge allegiance to my flag," and the republic for which it stands. One nation indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The words "my flag" were replaced by "the flag of the United States of America" around 1923. They did this so immigrants wouldn't confuse it with the flag of the country in which they were born. The pledge also did not originally include the words "under God." Congress added those words in 1954 at the urging of President Eisenhower to distinguish the U.S. from its Cold War nemesis, the Soviet Union. The Soviets, like many communist states, actively and militantly pursued a policy of atheism to eliminate any non-governmental influence over the thoughts of their citizens. Years after writing the Pledge of Allegiance, Bellamy forged a new relationship with the capitalism he once maligned. Apparently not quite as concerned about greed, he used his talents in New York City, writing advertisement copy for corporations such as Westinghouse and Allied Chemical. He believed that advertising could be done honestly. He even wrote a book called Effective Magazine Advertising. He kind of became Don Draper. Through it all, he claimed that the Pledge of Allegiance and the effect it had on the children of the United States, not to mention his hiring prospects, was still the writing of which he was the most proud. Makes sense. Wrote the Pledge of Allegiance is the kind of thing you want to include on your resume. So what do you think? Should school children say the Pledge of Allegiance? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from our weird history.
Any other takes on that, chat? Perception was that they're atheist states. They weren't really, though. Yeah, I'm not too close to those details specifically. I can't push back on that critically too much. No, they're not super lefty. Sort of wish they just stuck to talking about the flag instead of talking about Russia. Okay. Well, I guess that's a clip.